songs, I know it by heart. When it is played, I can sing along till the last line. How
Right.
do I know it? When it is played, I sing along,
Oh, yeah.
right? So a lot of people don't have the words of the movie songs in memory, but when it plays, the words come like this in their mouths,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
That's the best way of practice, is what I feel, whether it is a speech or a song. Thirdly, a lot of people ask me about how do you practice body language. Toastmaster is a different setup. Otherwise, I say being natural. Being natural, people will like you. If you start dramatizing in front of an audience, you'll be caught very soon that you are dramatizing for the sake of attracting people.
I have a dream. I have a dream. I have a dream.
Welcome to Rise and Speak podcast. I'm your host, CM Manjunath. This is a podcast for you as a beginner to become a bold speaker. Practice makes a man and a woman perfect. This episode is all about the right way to practice. Today's guest is a mentor of mine, a passionate learner and advocate of effective communication. He believes public speaking is a life skill that anyone can master with the right practice. The right word or the key word is practice. Over the years, this guest that I have, has explored how consistent practice can transform nervous speakers into confident communicators. So, if you are a nervous speaker, practice can elevate you into a confident communicator. Through his work with more than 100 mentees and learners, he has seen firsthand how he calls the practice effect can completely change or transform the way people speak. Today, we'll dive into the concept and uncover how practice makes all the difference in public speaking. In this episode, we're going to break this into three parts: why practice is important, how to practice the right way, and some of the challenges. So, if you have been struggling with your public speaking, if you have been struggling with that stage fear, this episode is perfect for you because you can crush that fear with practice. It's an absolute pleasure and honor to welcome DTM, Dr. Nagesh Ramamurthy, sir, one of the most popular Toastmasters, TEDx speakers, and an excellent communicator. Sir, it's an honor. Thank you for joining us in this episode today.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning, listeners.
Excellent, sir. Thank you very much for being here again. Now, we are going to talk a lot about practice, but before I dive into that, our viewers and listeners would love to know about you. Could you give a brief about you and how you got into the world of public speaking?
Okay, those who listen to you with my introduction might be thinking, oh, I'm so notable. But there were days when I started speaking as a public speaker. I was a nervous wreck. I was nervous. It took a lot of efforts and a lot of learned people who helped me get here, uh, if you call it as notable. From nervous to notable, it's been a great journey with people who are around me. I started actually public speaking in 2008 when I said, let me start teaching all the learnings that I've had in my domain of work. And I was fortunate that a lot of people called me to teach my engineering subject in college. And that's where my exposure to public speaking happened. And then on, there's no been no turning back. I still teach in engineering colleges. There have been many conferences that I've spoken at. I've been speaking at a lot of events. Recently, I gave my TEDx talk. It's been an upward journey altogether, and it's all because of the people who have given me great feedbacks, who uplifted me, who thought that I can uh, move with them. And it's a coexistence for all of us. That's how it's been a wonderful journey.
And of course, the practice, I'm sure.
Of course, practice. We're going to talk a lot about it, right?
Yeah, a quick anecdote. So, the way I was introduced to you was I was preparing for my international speech contest last year. And because of that, I had to give level one and level two and finish them in order to qualify. I had joined recently. That was in last November 2024. That's when I joined Toastmasters Club. And on YouTube, when I was searching for how to give a speech, a level of speech about communication styles, I came across your speech. And I was hooked right from the first second. The way you creatively brought in the idea of the different communication styles and how you can help people understand the communication styles, which is to me a little bit of a theory, but the way you presented it was so interesting and I learned from it. And your speech, that specific speech, is etched in my mind forever. And that's what powerful speeches can do. They become memorable, they become a part of your life. And your speech became a part of my life. And I loved it. And that's what introduced me to you. And right from that day, I want to meet you and speak with you and learn from you. Luckily, I had that opportunity, and it's been great knowing you throughout, right from my first conversation. So again, it's an honor for me to host you in this podcast, sir.
Thank you so much. At least delta difference I've been able to make to somebody. I'm so glad that I've been of some help to you, Junaid. I'm glad to be here.
Definitely. So let's start with the why, right? Like Simon Sinek says, everything should start with the why. Why practice matters. Okay. We're going to look at some of the motivational factors and the myths when it comes to practicing. Why is practice so essential in public speaking, according to you?
Okay. It said that, like any other skill, um, confidence is something that people are born with. I don't agree with those who say that. You're not born with confidence, but you try to gain few things as you progress your life, right? So confidence is one of them. Now there are a lot of I want to take an analogy from the sports. You learn swimming, you learn cycling, but even after 20 years, if you're given a bicycle, I'm sure you'll be able to ride it. Or if you're pushed into water, you'll be able to somehow manage and swim, right? But public speaking or speaking in general is very opposite to it. It's more to do about the muscle memory. And you will have to develop that over a period of time to become confident. And then on, you should not stop it. You will have to continue doing public speaking. If not doing public speaking, you will have to continue practicing it at least. I'll give you another example. If you look at those musicians, if you look at those people who play instruments, musical instruments, or if you look at sports persons, they every day kind of they go and practice, even if they are not playing a match, or even if they are not on the stage doing a jugalbandi, right? They are at home, but still practice with their instrument, or they do that what we call in Hindi rehearse. They continuously keep their vocal cords active. They see that it is in shape all the time. You never know when you will get the calling to speak. So, in public speaking, one is you should be good at language, you should be good at vocabulary, you should be good at confidence. These are the three basic things. And these three things, you will have to continue practicing it. Continue practicing it. Secondly, uh, in order to be very confident, a lot of people have asked me, my mentees especially have asked me, sir, I had this mother tongue touch when I talk. What do I do that? There are two things I tell them. One is to while you're building confidence, don't think about mother tongue influence. First, build the confidence, then work on your mother tongue influence. And while you're working on the mother tongue influence, I tell them that you will have to again practice to see that to certain extents it's eliminated. There is not a single individual across the globe who doesn't have a mother tongue influence. Be it an Irish, Brit, or a Spanish, or an American, or a Japanese, or an Australian, or an Indian, North Indian, or a South Indian, everybody has got a mother tongue influence in their speech. So you can't completely get away with it because there's no set definition of the right pronunciation of an English language. However, you can polish it in a manner that your audience understand what you're saying. So that for that you will have to practice. One, you'll have to practice for the confidence that you have to build. You have to practice for the vocabulary that you have to build. You have to work for the muscle memory that you have to build. And lastly, if you are intending to shoo away that mother tongue influence, you will have to practice. So that Riyaz practice, like a musician, is important even for public speaking.
Very good. Now, you come across as so polished when you're speaking, but you said initially you were nervous too, but you overcame that. So I'm just curious, are some people just naturally good at speaking, or does everyone have to practice? What are your thoughts on that?
Everybody has to practice. I don't know who said that. If you give me a table topic, I'll take about 2 months to deliver a right speech for a table topic. So even great speakers, they practice. There are few of them who are really great. Um, uh, they have a script, they have bullet points, and they work on it, and they develop the speech then and there. But they have the content. They have the content. What content fits where is what you need to practice. You take any speaker, it could be a TEDx speaker or a stand-up comedians. They deliver effortlessly. We have seen that so many times. But often their rehearsal is not seen to us. They must have done, I don't know how many dozens of practice. You see a theater, you go to a theater, watch a play, you come out so ecstatic and you say, wow, what a performance. Or you see a movie, you see the final take. You don't see the effort behind it, right? So everybody practices. So natural talent could be of a little help. It could be of a little help, but sustained practice is what creates a mastery, or what you see as a masterpiece is because of the practice. Everybody practices. Don't, I would say, those who are coming to public speaking, trying to excel at it, don't rely on luck. Don't rely on luck. Preparation is the key. Preparation, preparation, preparation.
Preparation it is. Very good. I'm so glad that you brought that point up. So let's look at some of the adverse effects so that people realize the importance of practice. What will happen if they do not practice? What will be the adverse effect of that?
Simple. You will stand there trying to recollect what you have to say next. So, in the process of recollecting, there is a demand and supply gap. And comes this filler words, ahs, ums, and the repetitive words that we often get noticed by an counter in Toastmasters, right? So these words naturally come to you. So skipping practice and not knowing what you have to say next will not make your speech so very polished. The audience will know that you have not practiced it well. You have not practiced it well. So it is important that we practice in a manner that we know our subject, what we are talking. A lot of people may think that, oh, practice, it is such a waste of time. I know my subject. So let me talk ad lib, or let me talk impromptu, because on my subject I can talk anything. Yes, there is content, but after content, which is the king, is also delivery. And audiences will look for something which is very polished. Practicing isn't about memorizing. It is absolutely no. A lot of people think that if I practice, I'm memorizing. No, internalizing. You may know your subject, but what comes after other is the flow, and seamless flow will help an audience to look very polished. So it is that focus on the structure which is more important, not memorizing, but internalizing. So if you don't practice, I think you're not polished.
Right. And that will come through, regardless of how great of an expert you are in a topic. Right. Thank you. Thank you
Yes,
very much.
yes.
So I remember watching your TEDx speech a couple of weeks ago. And one of the things that stood out to me in that TEDx talk was a story about how your father got unwell and he had to be carried in the village, I think like in a bullock cart, to a doctor, and he had to be treated. And to me, in your entire speech, that personal story connected very much with me. And again, it stayed with me. Can you give us a specific instance from your life, a personal story where practice gave you the confidence or transformed the way you deliver?
All the stories that I pick up in my Toastmaster speeches or keynote speeches or anywhere that I try to install something in the minds of my audience, it's a personal story which I relive. I generally don't uh, bring in stories out of my hat because of my 35 plus years of professional experience and my age. I think I have lived all kinds of stories, all kinds of situations, and I've gone through all kinds of emotions in my life. That there are plenty of stories available with me. It's only that I relive it. I'll give you an example of a situation. You heard that story about my father being brought to the hospital on a bullock cart. I have practiced that speech in Toastmasters at least about 18, 20 times before it went on the TEDx stage. There's another story where we spent 3 nights in Cantonment railway station in Bangalore because of some issue that happened at home when we were new to Bangalore. And I have lived there in 3 nights. From there, I have gone to the school. The school was also close by, and that was my temporary home. Though I have said it was the largest bedroom I have ever slept. Not a Buckingham Palace, but Bangalore to the cantonment. I relive those stories. I relive those stories. Me and my brother were playing in the evening, watching the trains pass by. We have made friends with the canteen fellow, the RPF, the ticket collector for those 4 days that we were there, 3 nights that we spent there. We could we could see the life on our platform. So I have given this part of speech in multiple speeches, at least about 7, 8 times. So whenever I give, I go back to those times and relive it. What were my emotions? What went through? What did I see? I try to show this to my audience as well. So reliving an experience is something that I love doing it in my speeches, and there is always emotions attached to it. There's a story to it. There is a message through it. So I love doing it. There are many, many things that I have spoken about. I have also spoken about a time when I got an engineering seat and my parents didn't have deep pockets. And how is it that I could manage to join the college and finish my engineering and came out actually with flying cars? If I look back, um, 40 years ago when I did all this. It's something that I tell people, look here, doing an engineering was difficult those days as well as it is difficult even now. I was jobless for a year after my engineering. Now there is a situation of jobs everywhere. We are talking about AI taking away jobs. I mean, 40 years also, this was the state. When computers came in, we were thinking we will be jobless because computers will take away our jobs. So when I relive all these things, I enjoy talking to my audience with my story and giving them the message, the life that I have lived.
Very nice. So can you think of a situation where this practice truly converted your speech into a really good one? I know you already mentioned about how the story that you told in the TEDx was practiced in your Toastmaster stages multiple times. Any specific situation where you practiced so well that that speech impacted lives? A specific one.
I did. I'll tell you that Cantonment railway station story itself.
Okay.
When I first gave that story, it was flat. We were there in the station. We went there. This was the situation why we went there. How did we spend those 3 nights? And what did we do during the day? How did we go to the school and things like that? But when I got the feedback, I improvised it. So that's the practice that I talk about. When I improvised it, when I look at the final draft or the final take that was given in one of the speech, I really felt, oh, why didn't I do this earlier?
Hmm.
So I brought in vivid imagery. I made people imagine the train going in front of me. I made people think about how the canteen looks like. How does the waiting room in a railway platform looks like? And how do people rush out of the train and within 10 minutes the platform is vacant? So now these vivid imagery started coming out when I started practicing it and giving it again, practicing it and giving it again. So I said, why, let me experiment adding this and see how does it turn out to be. Let me add this. So there were multiple layers that were added to the whole situation. And the
Hmm.
final speech that I gave about 1.5 years ago was something that gave me a standing ovation for that one speech because this was a part of the speech when I gave it first, and this was an entire speech when I gave it last. So, what was about 30 seconds, I expanded it to about 7 minutes. So, practice made me think that a topic which is so intense and so close to me can be delivered in a manner that people enjoy it like a movie going on in front of their eyes. So, practice is so powerful, is what I realized then.
Very good. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. From vagueness to vividity. That's how I see it.
Absolutely. You're
Right?
right.
30 seconds to 7 minutes. That's beautiful. You painted a picture with the words and make the movie come alive. It is so important for speakers to do. And that comes with practice. Wonderful. So let's say we want our audience to become at least half as good as you are, sir. What are some of the practical ways someone can practice a speech effectively?
Okay. There are a lot of ways in which people have told me and have told others as well. Practice in front of a mirror, record yourself and see it. And there are so many ways of doing it. But what has worked for me, one of the mentors had told me, and it still works very well for me, and I share it with a lot of people. So I asked him, Anjanat, is there any song that you love? Any
Mm,
language?
sure, of course. I have so many songs that I love. Yes.
Okay, let me take an example. Do you know Mungaru Malay song?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, how many lines of it can you speak? Yes, can you sing?
I'm a bad singer. I
I'm not going to
listen to it,
ask you
but I don't
sing.
sing. Okay, good.
I'm not
Thank
going to
you.
ask you sing. How many
Okay.
lines can you sing if you're alone, let's say?
About three or four lines.
Okay, so if you practice a little more, I'm sure the entire song you can.
Yep.
And how do you practice? An old Hindi movies songs, I know it by heart. When it is played, I can sing along till the last line. I don't
Mm,
know it by heart. How do
right.
I know it? When it is played, I sing along,
Oh, yeah.
right? So a lot of people don't have the words of the movie songs in memory, but when it plays, the words come like this in their mouths,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
That's the best way of practice, is what I feel. Whether it is a speech or a song. For speeches, what I do is I record myself when I say that this is my best take. I record it and I listen to it when I'm walking. I listen to it when I'm alone. And I keep repeating it when it is coming to my ears. So The what we practiced as movie songs, I do it for speeches, and the speeches become internalized to me. Memorizing is very difficult for people of my age. There are a lot of youngsters who can memorize speeches like this, but for those who don't want to memorize or can't memorize, internalizing is the best way. So you know your subject and you need to say it seamlessly as if effortlessly it is coming through. So best way is to listen to what you're going to say, and it has to play in your mind when you're speaking. That's the best way of practicing, and it's helped me. I feel it's a very powerful tool that you record and keep listening to it, and you keep um, repeating it when you're listening to it. Next best, what I feel is take a small audience, practice in front of them after this first step is done. I think that will be the next helpful thing for you. Be it a friend, be it a family member. You know, the TEDx speech that I gave, um, my wife was very helpful in making me practice the previous night, the previous day, the early morning that day of the speech. We practiced it together. She was there all along, helping me practice. It's difficult for us in Toastmasters to remember 5 to 7 minute speech, and this was 14 minutes 59 seconds. For me, it was a little difficult, but one, she was there besides me. Find a friend, find a family member who can help you. Secondly, internalize it. Internalize your speech by recording it and listening to it is what I feel is the best way. Thirdly, a lot of people ask me about how do you practice body language. Toastmaster is a different setup. Otherwise, I say being natural. Being natural, people will like you. If you start dramatizing in front of an audience, you'll be caught very soon that you are dramatizing for the sake of attracting people. If you're natural, people will like you more. So your speeches should be as natural as you normally speak with people. So these are the three, four ways that I feel um, that's the best way of practicing. And this I have shared with a lot of my mentees, and they also have gained out of it. So I think they are the best ones.
Thank you. That is very nice. So, number one, record yourself. It doesn't have to be a video recording based on what you're saying. It could also just be an audio clip of your speech and listen to it as you drive or probably cooking like I do Maggie. So I could listen to that while I'm preparing Maggie or something like that. So just listening to my own speech, my own voice over and over could be a great practice approach. And also the third one you mentioned is get people who truly love and care for you, like your friends and family, make them sit and practice in front of them. You'll get some valuable feedback that way. In terms of body language practicing, just be natural. Don't try to become too conscious and dramatize and do kind of acting. That's not required. Be natural is your point. Now, I know you mentioned the word internalize a couple of times, sir, and I've read it and heard it also. But honestly, I don't entirely understand what that means. And I'm sure there are people like me. Could you distinguish between by hearting or memorizing something word for word versus internalizing? How do you define that?
Memorizing, you yourself said, word by word. What is written there as your script is what you will memorize and is what you will deliver. But internalizing is a little different, uh, way different, I would say. There are certain things or parts of your speech which cannot be changed. For example, there could be some literary devices that you have used. There could be a quote that you have devised or you have picked up from somebody and you want to use it because that's something you're using it as a transition or something which is a foundation or something that you think that will emphasize your speech or the message. So they are few things that you cannot change, or a dialogue which is true from your life and you want to use it as it is, like conversation with your father or your friend or somebody who is a neighbor. You want to bring it verbatim. So these are the few things that you cannot change. But rest others, I think they are something that can go by the flow. You don't have to follow word by word as per your script. So internalizing is those elements, know it by your heart that this is how what I'm going to say, and this is where I'm going to say. But in between those, I'm going to improvise. That is internalization.
Hmm. Good, good. So you will not divert from your key points, but you might include words that could enhance your speech. But the key points have to be there, right? That's the point you're trying to make. On the other hand, when it
Yes.
comes to quotations or dialogues, you have to stick to verbatim. Did I get it right?
Let me give you an example for those who are listening to understand. If there is a line which you are trying to say that I walked towards Manjunath, if it's a plain statement and walking is an action not related to something that is going to happen next, you can just say, I walked towards Manjunath and said, but if it has to be emphasized, I walked briskly towards Manjunath and I said, if
Mm,
you drop the word briskly, the impact is gone. So internalization means that you will not drop the word briskly
okay.
because that create emphasis. The urgency in that statement is important for me. It was a casual statement. I would have said, I walked to Manjunath. I said, Manjunath, this is wrong.
Mm,
I walked briskly to Manjunath and said, look there, what's happening? So what is it that you're going to say with what word as an emphasis that has to be there? That's internalization.
very good. And how do you do that? Do you make like keywords, make a note of them, and you ensure that it's there?
Yes. You highlight that in your script. You
Right.
highlight that in your script, and then you see that you definitely use it because that creates an urgency or an emphasis or an impact with the audience.
Absolutely. Yes. Speak.
Audience feels something through that. Audience understands something through that. So they are the key words and situations in your speech. You can't. But,
Got it.
and you will definitely drop it if you are memorizing it.
Mm-hmm.
I've often seen that.
Okay.
I've often seen that. Because you are thinking what's coming next when you have memorized. Your mind is going faster than your spoken words.
Correct.
There's every possibility that you will forget what is important.
Mm-hmm.
So remember the keywords, rest you can fill.
Okay. And how frequently do you place these keywords? In the sense, when I look at a speech structure, there's opening, body, and conclusion. I would say the opening is about 10 to 15% of the entire speech. Are there a few keywords that you keep in mind when it comes to opening? If yes, how many points do you usually do?
It depends upon the delivery style one has, the emphasis or the message that is being given, or the number of dialogues that is available. It depends completely on the script. However, when you are practicing, practice with and without, you will know the difference yourself.
Hmm.
If there is no difference in the way you are hearing it when you are saying it, when you have dropped it, it means it can be dropped. Now, you asked about the practice. There are many times when you have to practice alone. I tell this to a lot of people. When you write a script, it is for your eyes. The brain processes it through the eyes. But when you say it, it is processed through ears. That's how audience process it. You're not going to show the script to the audience. You're going to say it. So you are the first audience when you are practicing it. So when you drop a word and you yourself can make out the difference that this is not connecting. This word is important. This needs to be there to create that impact. And that becomes your key place, key phrase, key word, key quote, or key moment of truth for you.
And now I understand why my father used to tell me, read it aloud, used to repeat,
Yes,
right? So important.
yes,
I'm so glad that you brought this up.
absolutely, absolutely.
Thank you. So, do you recommend like short daily practice or fewer but longer sessions in terms of practicing and allocating time on a daily basis? How do you do that, sir?
Short ones have given great output and outcomes. See, what happens if you practice for a longer duration, you tend to move towards memorization. When you do it in short bits, you are trying to internalize it. And there should not be any set amount of duration, a set amount of time during the day that you will have to set it aside for practicing. You can practice in the car. You can practice when you're sitting in your balcony. You can practice when you're walking. You can practice while you're reading your newspaper. Keep it aside, practice for 30 seconds.
Hmm.
So, in between any time you should practice, that shows how much you have internalized it. And practicing doesn't mean that you start from the beginning and you finish at the end. Practicing it is like you pick up a keyword from your speech. Can you take it on from there? I'll give you an example of Darren LaCroix. In his World Championship speech, his mic fell. The mic unit, which was clamped to his uh, trousers, fell, but he never stopped speaking. He continued both the things. He started putting it in his pocket and he continued his speaking as well. That much he had internalized that any distraction couldn't have deterred him. Because if you stop, you will not know where did you stop and you will need assistance to start. It could be an external assistance or your internal assistance. And one, of course, in Toastmaster, time is important, so you lose time. Otherwise, also, audience will feel how clumsy is he, right? So internalizing and practicing should be not continuous. It should not be in sequence. It should be whenever possible for you. And pick up one word, phrase, or a quote which is key to your speech and start practicing from there. I'm talking only about the practice of bits and pieces. Like Craig Valentine has said, if you need a masterpiece, master the pieces.
Yes.
So that piece can be from anywhere of your speech.
Excellent points. Thank you very much. When I was preparing for my contest speech again, one of my mentors mentioned the importance of visualization. So let's jump into the visualization aspect of it. You you stress on the importance of short bursts rather than long practice sessions, which I think is very valid. So, in terms of visualization and mental rehearsal, how do you do that, sir?
Great tool, visualization. Very great tool. See, suppose you're asked to uh, take up a keynote speech for a first time in a corporate. Now, you're not gone there any time earlier. So you would have definitely asked questions. What is the kind of audience? How many of them? What's the age group? Vagara, vagara. Then visualization is the tool that will help you visualize that there are so many audiences. These are the age group. This is where they are seated, and you're standing on the stage. When you're practicing with that visualization.
Mm.
That's very important. Very important. When you know that there are going to be 1,000 people in the hall, visualize 1,000 people, two aisles, 300, 300, 300. Some people standing at the back. There are people at the side of the stage. Some people sitting, some people leaning down, some people making notes. So you will have to cater to all kinds of audience. You can visualize all of that. And when we have to practice delivery, the eye contact, the body movement, this helps a lot. This helps a lot. Some people will tell you what is the size of the stage. So you will know what is the size of the stage where you're practicing. You can kind of mark yourself there and then practice your body movements. So visualization is a great tool because it gives you complete confidence on your delivery. Complete confidence on your delivery.
Mm.
And look at the athletes. They do it all the time. Somebody going to Olympics, they are not on the Olympic track, but when they are practicing, they practice as if they are on the track. That's the same cue that we should take, that as public speakers, we should do that mental rehearsal because that will reduce the anxiety when we are actually on the stage and we are facing the actual real audiences. Visualization is a great tool to enhance your confidence. Very great. That's why I tell most of my mentees, don't practice in front of the mirror.
Mhm.
You are seeing yourself, you're not visualizing. For first few days when you're practicing, it's okay. You're seeing your face, you're seeing your hand gestures, you're seeing how are you showing that emotions on your face. That's fine. But in your final times of your practice, rehearsals, I think move away from the mirror. Maybe stand in front of a blank wall or an open space. Visualize the stage, the audience, the hall, and that will enhance your confidence till next times. Reduces anxiety. That's what I recommend.
Beautiful, beautiful. Yeah, I love how you drew the parallel with an athlete because I've read that someplace that they usually practice in their own mind as if they're running or doing something, and that gives them a feeling of really doing it, like practicing for real. It's very powerful. Thank you for sharing that. Okay, so let's look at some of the challenges when it comes to practicing. What are some of the common mistakes that people make when they practice public speaking and how to avoid them, obviously?
I think I spoke about this a little while earlier about mm, memorizing word by word. You drop one word, you don't know how to move ahead. This has happened a lot of people when they practice in Toastmasters. They have memorized their speech, they have come there, and once they know what's the next word, it is easier for them to flow. But once they forget just one keyword, they don't know where to move forward. And it's happened to me when I was practicing in Toastmasters clubs, my initial speeches. Why last year contest speech, I forgot. It took about 30 seconds or little less for me to recollect and move. And I'm sure judges marked me down because of that. So memorizing word by word has its own flip side. One. Second thing is uh, practicing very robotically. You know, what I mean here is like at this line, this is what I'm going to do. At this place, I'm going to raise my hand. Here, I'm going to step backwards. They have memorized those delivery aspects also. It's, according to me, like programming a robot. You have given a script to a robot and you have told them what needs to be done at what point of time. That's not being natural. Also, that derails your speech when you are actually performing. In movie making, there are so many takes, but in your case, in public speaking, there's just one take. Keep it as natural as possible. Great actors, they finish off their acting in one take because of so much of practice behind them, isn't it? So it's easier if you're natural, and it's more difficult when you're robotic. One. Secondly, if you skip one day of practice, I think you got to start all over again. All over again. It's not swimming and cycling, as I told you. So if your speech is coming up in next 15 days and you have started making the first draft and the second draft, the third draft, iteration is happening, you're rehearsing in your mind while you're writing your script or a bullet points. And one day you try to skip doing that exercise. It will take a lot of time for you to understand where did I leave? Where do I start? How do I start? How do I connect? All those things will take more time for you to practice. So a day skip is putting your clock way back for you. So practice should be continuous. Practice could be continuous. These are the few challenges that I have seen myself. Maybe for others, it may not sound right, but for me and for most of the people that I've spoken to, my mentees and others, they feel that these things are a few challenges. I don't have time. It's a common thing. So I think you have time. Somebody is driving for you, you're sitting there, you can practice in your mind. You're going in a bus, you can practice. You're having a cup of coffee, you can practice. So, because you don't have to practice the entire speech, as I said, you have to practice bits of it, master the pieces first. So, you can do it anywhere. You finish your lunch in 15 minutes, you have another 15 minutes, you can practice. So, you can do it in small bits. I think for a lot of people, time is a challenge, but according to me, time is available. We'll have to make efficient use of it. These are the few challenges that's coming on top of my mind right now.
Great points. I remember a couple of weeks ago, I spoke to you at a club meeting and I told you that there is a humorous speech coming up. And you said, don't worry about the humor, just write down your script. And you asked me when the contest was. You were trying to find out the timeline that I will need in order to be prepared for that. So, my question would be this. Usually, when you're preparing for a speech, what is the timeline that you usually take for a 7 minute speech, let's say? And what is your structure? Do you write your script first? And you mentioned about the bullet points. So, do you write your script first, then come up with the bullet points, which will include some of the key words that'll give you the beats that'll go into your speech, and then you practice based on those keywords, internalizing the speech. What is your procedure in doing this?
Okay, fantastic question. I have taken cue from those music writers who have created masterpieces. I love Bollywood music. I heard a lot of interviews of um, Gulzar and writers like Mr. Akhtar and so many other writers, even writers in Kannada, those who write for music industry. According to them, most of them have said that the masterpieces were not created in one stroke. It's not that you start from first word and you pen down till the last word. It is a process of evolution. It's a process of evolution. So taking cue from there, generally my speeches I take time to write. I tell this to everybody. Nobody speaks without an intent. What is the intent? And that's the conclusion. The purpose of your speech should be the conclusion. And I tell them that write your conclusion first. What do you want your audience to feel? What do you want your audience to understand? Or what do you want your audience to do immediately after your speech? So, unless that is nailed completely, don't start your entire speech. Now, knowing how you are concluding, you should know how to open it. So, next is you have to write your opening. And then the body of the speech comes. Body is nothing but how are you substantiating the points that you're made in the beginning of the speech. You set a premise. You have started taking your audience on a journey in your opening. How do you take them throughout? There are stories, there are anecdotes, there are emotions, there are so many things that get into the body. So build that body which substantiate what you started with, and you build that meat, not the fluff. So it's a process of iteration. So I write conclusion, I write the opening, I read both of them, do they tally? Then I start writing the body. Maybe I write a part of it, then I read it entirely, then I continue writing and read it again. So it's a process of iteration. So once it is completely written, maybe it's gone beyond the time to prune something, maybe one sentence for a paragraph, or maybe one phrase for a sentence, or maybe remove a paragraph. So those things happen. And then while that is happening, actually the practice starts. You started practicing little, 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 little when you started reiterating on the speech. So this is how is my process of working on the speech. I generally tell people that if your stage time is tomorrow, don't start today. Start early, enough time that you give for scripting your speech or those who are putting up the bullet points, and have enough time for practicing it. So I generally keep about a week and a week for scripting it, a week for practice. That's my style of working. There are a lot of people who take 3, 4 days to script it and 1 or 2 days to deliver it. I mean, practice it to deliver. That's their style. There are some people who have only bullet points and they speak uh, impromptu and they do a great job on the stage. There are people like that as well. But most of the speakers that I have spoken to and I've heard of, they do a lot of work behind the stage. And for me, it's 1 week plus 1 week. I don't know about others, but I think 15 days is a good amount of time for you to sit on it and work on it. And as I
Okay.
told you, every day is a work on it.
Right. So you mentioned about the script. Do you also distill it down to some of these bullet points and pick the keywords? What's your process for doing that?
That's an important question. Let me reiterate. So when I'm scripting it and rehearsing it, I make different formats of it. If something is can be said in different manner, I write it down in different manner and see what goes with the flow. One, in that what cannot be dropped becomes my keyword. And let me tell you for the benefit of the listeners, don't have long sentences. Don't have long sentences. I say this because of two reasons. One is it's easy for you to recollect. Second, it helps you take pauses. Thirdly, sometimes it happens that we are all natural, that sometimes we uh, definitely forget what's coming up next. And the short sentences will help you in a manner that even if one small sentence is dropped, the meaning doesn't change. So see that that also is taken care. A lot of people do that. I have had speeches where I have forgotten one paragraph itself, but still my speech came out very well. Nobody knew that a paragraph was skipped. Recently, I gave a speech in a corporate where one second last paragraph is something that I was not able to recollect. But I moved on. I know I'm not going to spend here, time here because I don't want to have a long pause. I moved on. But later on, when I asked people as to, did you find anything that was missed? Was there a jerk? Nobody could know it.
Good.
Nobody could know it. So small sentences will help you in this manner. Smaller sentences, even if you skip one of it, will not change the essence of the entire speech. So this is what I thought I will share with you.
Good, good. Also, you mentioned the word pause now, and immediately I started thinking, do you include the pauses in your script? Is that
Yes,
infused so that you know, yeah, when to pause?
yes,
How do you do
yes.
that?
See, when you are practicing, you need to see if there can be a pause at the end of the sentence or in the middle of the sentence. Like you, a lot of people, they don't pause at the end, but they pause in the middle to, give that kind of impact in humorous speech, right? So if there is a humor, even if it is not a humorous speech, if there is a humor, then you need to pause at the right point. It cannot go by the flow. And that's a key word. Pausing is a key place in your script, and you cannot delete it. So it is there in my script as a bracket, parenthesis. So in my script, you will find a parenthesis which gaps, three, four letter gaps. So that's where I have to pause. And if I have highlighted it bold in bold, then it means for me that it is an important part of my script. I need to do it. So I go with it. I go with it.
Okay, I'm going to ask you a very raw question. Do you really enjoy practicing? I don't.
Okay. There was a time when I was not enjoying my practice. There was a time when I was not enjoying my practice. But over the period of time, having given so many speeches in Toastmasters and many equal number of them outside, I felt had I not practiced, I wouldn't have got the applauses that I got. Two things is very important. One is content, and the second is delivery. People applaud you for what knowledge you have shared with them, what message you have shared with them, and secondly, how you behaved on the stage that has made them happy or they have felt good about it. So these are the two reasons why they give you applaud. Okay, so of course there is third one, the humor, but not everybody is good at it. I'm definitely not good at it. So I felt that practicing the content and the delivery has got me what I wanted. After all, a speaker on the stage carves for appreciation after the speech is over. If no one applauds, imagine the state of the speaker after the speech is over, right? He wants the earth to split and he goes in, right? If there is no applaud. So everybody wants that. For me, practicing enough has given me results. So I enjoy doing it because I know what kind of results it's going to give me. And there are times when I have not practiced well, I know how pathetic it was. Every day was not my day. So looking at the hindsight, I think practice has given me better outcome than non-practice. I enjoy. Now I started enjoying it because I can visualize the outcome.
Right, right. So even though we are uncomfortable with the practice, we have to visualize the outcome, the applause, which is what we are going out there for. Of course, we are going to add value with our speech also, but that matters. The applause does matter, and that is a motivation. So, how do you practice effectively if you don't have an audience or a support system that can give you feedback? You mentioned about how you have your family and your spouse help you with your TEDx speech. But what if I don't have someone who can do that for me?
Well, a speaker should never be alone. Let me tell you that. You have to build your support system. And I am also saying in the same breath that not all support system will be available when you want, right? It so happened that she traveled with me and she was available for me that day. Had she not been there, what was my backup? What would have been my backup plan? So we will have to build one or two support system. One, and uh, you're your own first buddy in your practice. I told you, you read it out loud, you hear it, you yourself will know what's going well. You are your own first audience, then anybody else. Okay. So I feel somewhere you will have to build an ecosystem where somebody is there to assist you. I have not seen any speaker across the world who doesn't have that support system. Everybody has built it in some form or other. Like two coaches doing work together, two speakers doing work together. In togetherness, there is more greatness, I would say. So, going solo in a place where you need feedback, you need a mechanism you need a structure to support you, is not going to help. It's my earnest request to those listeners who think they can do this alone, they can't do it. Of course, for those who are Toastmasters, you have the Toastmaster system available with you. But there also, I've seen a lot of people going solo. They practice alone, they write their script alone, don't show it to their mentors, they don't go to people and show it, they don't take feedback after the speech is over. It's all fine. You may feel that you're good enough, but it will not take you far. It can take you only a little far. But if you want to go beyond, it is an ecosystem that you will have to build. You will have to build. So please build that. Please build that. I have my own ecosystem. I have my own ecosystem where uh, I have my mentors, I have my fellow Toastmasters, I have my family, I have a friend. I have a lot of people who I go to. There are people whom I go to with bits of my speeches. I record a small bit of it and send it to somebody. And second bit, I send it to somebody else. So they give me feedback. So I ask them, are you available for 10 minutes to practice with me? I want to rehearse with you any time of the day. So there are different times that they are available. So I don't take entire speech with them, but I take only a part of it and narrate it to them. As I told you earlier, you don't have to practice the entire speech. You can start from the middle and practice. You can practice only the conclusion. You can practice only the story. So when you can practice in bits, you can practice those bits with different people. So different ecosystem, different parts of the ecosystem is something good to have.
I I couldn't stress on this importance enough. So thank you very much for bringing that point, sir. The whole idea I'm doing this Rise and Speak podcast is exactly for that, because we have some amazing people like you, leaders in what you're doing, excellent public speakers, communicators, and presenters. And when I'm digging into your mind, I'm helping people get answers to the questions that are in my mind, that are stopping me from becoming what I could become, right? The potential that each one of us have. And it's super important to have mentors, ask questions, get feedback, and be humble. That's one of the most important things that I've learned. Even a couple of weeks ago, when I was preparing for my humorous speech, I was thinking I should include a joke here and there and so on and so forth. But that just one piece of info that you gave me, you said, don't worry about the humor part. Write your story like you do any speech. Let there be an opening, body, conclusion, but more importantly, a purpose, a takeaway lesson, and then you'll uncover the humor from within. That was an important point. Had I not spoken to you, I would have still been blind, trying to include jokes that may not be as effective. So, again, emphasis on building an ecosystem, having mentors, receiving feedback is crucial for anybody to be successful. Thank you for bringing that point. So I'm going to ask one last question before we wrap this up. And sir, the closing is so very important. What is the one step that beginner speakers can take to become good at practicing itself? One step. that people can take away for effective practice?
It's difficult to pinpoint what's that one step, but I would want to answer it in two or three steps, if you can allow me.
Please.
Firstly, start with a self-belief. Start with a self-belief. Excuse me. Start with self-belief that you can do it, you're gonna rock it, and you are the right person for this particular topic you're going to speak. One. Second thing I would say is there are two kinds of practice that we spoke about. One is when you're alone and when you have a system around you. When you're alone, all that you can practice is the content and the structure. But you need the audience around you to help your nervousness go away, to make you a little more confident and give you feedback. So what can be done with the audience cannot be done when you're alone. So the best thing is to mix the both. There are certain things that you will have to practice it alone. There are a few things that you have to practice with others. So I would suggest do both. It's never alone or with audience. It is with both because you can visualize when you are alone, but with audience you can visualize more. So this is one thought that I want to leave you with. Self-belief and have a system.
Great, great. Thank you very much. So, if people like me, who are like absolute beginners, novices, need to pick your brain, how can they reach out to you?
Oh, I am available on my phone number, and that's 9945241482. 9945241482 is where I can be reached. Usually, I appreciate people if they WhatsApp me before they call because I don't have everybody's number saved. I generally don't pick up numbers which are not saved on my phone. One. Secondly, you can mail me also at PMMAGESHRAMAMURTHY @gmail.com. So these are the two places where they can reach out to me for any assistance they need related to public speaking. I
Thank you.
hope that's helpful.
Thank you, sir. And I also see your LinkedIn posts there. You're so consistent and active on LinkedIn, and you share some golden nuggets there as well. So, if you don't mind, may I share your LinkedIn link in the description so that people can reach out to you through LinkedIn? Will that be okay?
Absolutely, absolutely. What I write is for others. So
Yes.
if it is of some benefit to them, either on leadership or communication, uh, they're 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 free to make use of it and excel from it. I have recently started something called as 404 Communication Not Found. It's a series that I'm going to start. 404 is something that's not found, right?
Right.
It's
Error
a
not found.
So I said, "For Not For Communication Not Found" is the title that I'm started writing on from today onwards, where I write where communications can go wrong. So I used to write on leadership. Now I started this communication related work. So look forward to a lot of things coming your way if you're following that. It is on Substack as well as LinkedIn now. The kind of writing that I am doing now, I felt LinkedIn is not enough for me. So I post a small post in LinkedIn and a longer post comes on my Substack, which started today. So please subscribe and help yourself and help me with your feedback.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thanks again for your time, sir. My biggest takeaway has been to not memorize your speech, but to internalize it. And you can internalize it by taking the keywords and asking yourself, if I drop that keyword, will my speech still work? biggest takeaway. Thank you very much for your time, Nagesh sir. It's been an honor again. I wish you all the best with your efforts. 404 coming up. And well, please make sure that you subscribe to Rise and Speak podcast, where we bring in amazing speakers and leaders like DTM Nagesh Ramamurthy sir and many more coming up. Please make sure you also subscribe to us for the podcast on Apple Podcasts as well as Spotify. It's absolutely free. We'd love to get your feedback. Leave a 5-star rating. Let us know what we're doing well, what needs to improve. And if you have a guest in mind that can help you become a better speaker, let me know. Yeah, just let me know in the comments down below. I'll be happy to bring them on and host with Rise and Speak. This is CM Manjunath signing off from today's episode, Rise and Speak, from a beginner to a bold speaker. See you next time.